I am going to think for a very long time about what you just said, that they tried to say that atheism was scientific because that really sent a chill down my spine because I've been speaking a lot about on my show about how I've recognized that modern science is fraudulent. And the media did not like this. They really called me stupid. And I said, well, you're now having people that just deem themselves experts. And all they have to do is say that it's a science and people get in line. And I think now the public recognizes that post-COVID, which became a religion. I mean, they just would say 6 feet social distancing and people would get in line. Don't see your grandparents. Trust it. Even the phrase, trust the science,
Exactly.
trust the science. There was something about that that felt so demonic to me of
Mhm.
you're just saying implicitly, almost as if the science has become this pagan god. And I do believe this. I believe science has become this sort of, it's a form of paganism where there's no logic anymore. It's just somebody deeming themselves an expert, but there's so much that they have been able to accomplish, evil, in my view, in Western society under the guise of science, because what they do is they then teach it to people in school, and people then view that as a token of their education. Well, I learned that 6 feet social distancing is right, so it can't be wrong. Well, I learned that, I'm someone that speaks against the vaccine industry, really. Well, I learned in medical school that as soon as the child comes out, there's something wrong with it and they need all these injections. And so to hear that they even manipulated science and tried to say atheism is actually
Mhm.
scientific is really something I've never heard of before. That is fascinating.
It was very famous. And you had to make exam to pass, for example, in university degree, to graduate, you had to do the exam on scientific essays. Otherwise, you would not obtain a grade.
Wow. And they're doing this even in terms of history, and this becomes the threat of the education system because I do believe that what we're existing under is Soviet propaganda. When I examine again my own childhood and how I learned things, where everything they do, as long as they say that there's a statistic behind it, even if they can't explain it. Perfect example. Recently, a host got in trouble for, it was Tucker Carlson. He was speaking about the dropping of the atom bomb. And I'm very, very against it. I agree with Tucker Carlson on this, especially because we dropped it in Nagasaki on praying Catholics. So maybe I have a Catholic bias there. But they teach in school, if we didn't do that, then the war wouldn't have ended, right? And so it's now become this sort of scientific understanding,
Mhm.
statistical understanding that more people, way more people would have died if we didn't do this. And people commit to that idea, and it becomes a token of their education. And then they sort of remove themselves from just this basic moral. You're dropping a bomb on innocent praying Catholics 300 feet in Nagasaki. And they just go, but I learned this in school. So there becomes this danger in really transforming the schools into the church. Like it's almost like a church of sorts. It becomes the church of education.
Yes, exactly. And this is a system, I repeat, of lie,
Mm.
as the communist system was. And therefore, um, we must again proclaim our right to think independently. So, independent thinking is quite now forbidden. There is only one way of thinking. And therefore, we must again free our children, our society, from this system of lie, from this denial of evidence, and to establish again a society where you can think freely and seriously present the truth of history and of our social life.